Outer Circle, Inner Stillness again is reflections on the sobriety life and the spirituality life and where they come together. And we talk about daily practices that support both. And oftentimes they are very similar in nature. So, those who are, talk about, sobriety being a spiritual process. There's a way well, so there's that can mean a lot of things, and you can have reference to the role of the higher power in the process, but it can also have a lot to do with just, like, the nature, the mechanical structure of it as well. Both the spiritual and, sober practice, they rely heavily on, the inner life, reflective, meditative, calm that you achieve inwardly. They rely a lot on community, they rely a lot on ritual and routine and habit and having a sense of there's a higher purpose that I'm living into. So that's what the show is about. That's what we talk about. So, um, so this year, I am doing dry January for the first time. I have not ever undertaken this particular rigor before, but on the 30th or so, this might be a good thing to do. So, what is dry January? So, typically, traditionally, within the recovery world, it's or not even just the recovery world, but within the alcohol world, it's a month where you stop drinking alcohol. And again, people will do this for a variety of reasons, coming from a variety of places. I myself do not identify as having a problem with alcohol. I don't like the term alcoholic, but um, even if I did, I wouldn't ever use that on myself by loss of rubrics. I don't drink that much. I have like a glass of wine in the evening sometimes if it's in the house, which is a lot of nights. But by any rubrics, I don't abuse it. I don't overuse it. I don't perceive that there's spiraling consequences or unmanageability in my life because of it. Nobody has really challenged my behavior over it. Um, and uh, yeah, not really effects, but it's I don't know. Is it a healthy thing? I guess that's the question. Like, it's not necessarily like the most healthy thing, but it's not a ragingly unhealthy thing. But it's a thing. And and as I've enjoyed alcohol, or I'll go out and I don't really like beer, so when I go out, I'll get a cider. So there's that. But I had come to notice, well, I don't think I have a problematic relationship with this substance, but I do notice I definitely do have a relationship with it. And I thought, well, okay, so let's do this rigor. Let's check this out. Let's see what's going on. And so dry January, it's this month where people will stop drinking and see if they can do it, see what happens, see what they learn. For some people, this can certainly catapult them into a longer term sobriety process or an abstinence process anyway. For others, not so much. It's a month where we do this and then we're done. And I have mixed feelings about this sort of thing, and I've been open about this before. I have very mixed feelings in general about trendy things, trendy rigors, fad diet, short-term diet, these short-term intensives. And I guess like diets are where they show up a lot, where people will like go on this really really strict food regimen for a short time to lose some weight, to work with a gut illness or something. Um, so it's not a bad thing to do usually, but uh, well, okay, so there's these fad diets, and then there can be these, 28-day workout challenges where you push yourself really hard to get some short-term gains, but then my 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 challenge with all of these tends to be, well, but it's not long-term. It's not long-term change. It's not necessarily creating sustainable habits. So there's some challenges there, and, you can get around that by going into with right expectations. You can go into a really strict diet or a really rigorous workout challenge or a rigor like Dry January, or coming up soon, in the Orthodox Church, and in the Catholic Church, we'll have the Great Lenten Fast, where we basically go vegan for, like, a month and a half, and that's tricky for some people. So, um, you know, you go into that with the right expectation. This is a short-term rigor, and it's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be good, it's gonna be fruitful, I'll learn some things, then it can be good. If you go into something like this expecting, "This thing that I'm doing is gonna change my life, and it's gonna heal me, and I'm gonna be good," I mean, you might cleanse your gut depending on what you're doing, and that is certainly gonna be good, but, these short-term things, they're not curative all by themselves. So, dry January is not going to remove one's alcohol use disorder all by itself. Not even close. You know, dry January plus lots of meetings, same thing, and it's not gonna cure you all by itself. There would need to be a lot of other things, other supports, you need to sustain some practices for longer. So there's some considerations there. Um, but all that to say, so here's me ranting and rambling and also reflecting a little bit. So I'm trying out this dry January thing just to look at my own relationship with alcohol, and which for me is a smaller piece of my relationship with my appetites in general. Um, Not typically part of dry January, but something I'm doing is, not, abstaining from snacks after 9 p.m. I was noticing myself falling into this late night snacking routine, which, I mean, I love a late night chocolate bar or toast or something as much as the next person, but, you begin to notice, well, there's these habits I'm falling into, and sure, they're not illegal, they're not well, they're kind of unhealthy, but they're not spiraling out of control, they're not creating huge consequences in my life, but they create little ones, like, my energy isn't what it could be, my clarity isn't what it could be, my body isn't what it could be, and so I begin to notice these things are starting to take up some space, and so taking a pause can be a really good thing. So so then what is the use of a short-term rigor like this? So, some thoughts because this is my show and I can have thoughts and opinions. What's the value of a short-term rigor like dry January, like Great Lent? Um, so there's room for self-evaluation. Can I do this or not? Can my resolve hold out for 31 days to not drink? Um, at this point, I'm anticipating, yeah, I should be able to do it. Like again, like for me, alcohol isn't a foundational component of my life. It's not a pseudo attachment figure. Like for some people, it is. It's not a deeply entrenched ritual. Well, it's a little bit entrenched. But I guess that's the exploration is like, can I really do this? Can I resist my cravings and resist my appetites, every night for 31 days? Can I do it easily? Can I do it, but it's hard? Do I fail altogether? But either way, there's opportunity to learn something. I get to evaluate myself. I get to see, oh, this relationship that I thought wasn't problematic actually is problematic. Or am I confirming myself? No, I thought to myself, I don't think I have a problem. And yes, I think I've confirmed. I still don't think I have much of a problem. But you go through this whole process to really evaluate it, and you get to see a little bit more solidly. I'll sometimes recommend this for people early in recovery, say, "Well, okay, so, not everybody, long-term abstinence isn't the solution for everybody, but, what if you try abstaining from your thing for a week? Just to see what that feels like." Uh, so we look and see, well, A, can you do it or not? That shows a lot. If you can do it, what does it feel like, and everything. So there's a self-evaluative component to a short-term rigor like this. Um, and like we're saying, a second thing, there's a lot of clarity and a lot of insight that can come from doing this. Getting to know what is my relationship with in this case, we're talking about alcohol and snacks, but we could just as easily be talking about pornography or talking about cannabis or shows or social media or any other things. Uh, so if I find that I am unable to go without it, if I'm unable to resist the cravings, what do I learn about myself then? What do I learn about the role that this has in my life? What do I learn about what this is doing for me? Or if I can do what I set out to do and it's kind of easy, same thing. What do I learn about myself? If I find that I can do this, but I'm really miserable in the process, same thing. I'm learning something about myself, or I can be learning something about myself, and then that becomes, the value there. Um, there's also a way too, especially when we get into things like substances and things like media and things like, highly sugary foods, these more intense experiences, they create an inner world that's very loud, and removing them can make space for a lot of inner quiet, or it can make space for the underlying anxieties and depressions to actually come out and be felt. So so fair warning, if you abstain from something, you might feel more feelings because those feelings are there to be felt. Um, but again, there's some insight there. You might get some clarity in the quiet and the calm, or you might come face to face with things that actually need to be faced, and that's valuable also. Another benefit to something like Dry January, or any of these, short-term rigors, short-term fasts, short-term diets, workout challenges, is there's a reset component to it. For me, I had been having my glass of wine just about every night, and that affects my sleep, it affects my energy, it affects my metabolism, and so there is something good about resetting and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go back to tea." Uh, Drink my chamomile, drink my valerian root, and go to sleep that way, and just let my body rest and relax. There's some parallels to this we see in the world and in nature when you think about, how farming is supposed to go. You don't plant the same crop on the same patch of ground every year. Some years you plant something different, or you rotate things around, or in in, uh, in the biblical Old Testament culture, they were commanded to do a Sabbath year. This idea of we work hard, we work our land for, I think it was like 6 years, and then the 7th year, we're supposed to not farm at all so that the land can rest and recharge and renourish and replenish, and then we hit it hard again in the 8th year. Uh, and that principle is really important for our lives as well. We live stressful lives. We work really hard, and so it becomes really important to sometimes take a break. And we take a break from work. We take a break from play. It's good to take a break from noise. It's good to take a break from sugar. It's good to take a break from meat. Sometimes it's good to take short breaks out from eating altogether. Short breaks. Short breaks. Um, but, there is something very necessary to that, having those breaks in the routine to rest, to reset, to recalibrate. Uh, and we see this too, again, thinking about Orthodox spiritual practice, and I mentioned Great Lent is coming up. We just concluded the Nativity fast, 40 or so days, without meat or dairy products. Nativity fast, I mean, there's plenty of wine and fish days, we're not strictly prohibited from eating sweets. So there's kind of a way it's like kind of an easy fasting season. Great Lent is more challenging. It's strict fasting, no meat, no dairy, no oil, no wine, pretty much for the whole 40 or so days, and that's really rigorous. And then for the Orthodox in general, most Wednesdays and Fridays are also fast days with similar strictness. And what we get there is this seasonal, cyclical component of feasting and fasting. We'll have a fasting season where we're really strict with ourselves, where we pray a lot more, we repent a lot more, we consider our sins, we consider our death. And then there's these feasting periods where it's like, "Hey, all the foods are on the table. Enjoy." We're commanded, "Enjoy all the foods and rejoice," because insert spiritual wonder of choice. But that whole rhythm is really necessary. Our lives need to be comprised of feasting and of fasting, of strictness and of looseness, of pushing ourselves hard, of taking leisure. And we lean too far in either direction, we get really imbalanced. There's lots of problems. But both of those taken in their proper balance, it creates a rich, robust, really fruitful life. So so that would be something to consider there too. Some reasons why, yes, something like a dry January experiment might be a really good thing, something, like Great Lent, it can be really useful also. Yeah, do a 28-day workout challenge, do 30 days of keto. Uh, there's lots of ways you can challenge yourself and be extra strict, and there's lots of benefits to all of those. But go into it with the right mindset. These things on their own, one time, are not going to help you very much. They're not gonna change you, they're not gonna heal you. They could eliminate some things for you, but they're not gonna do very much on their own one time. Uh, Done as a recurring yearly ritual, they begin to take on more benefit. Done as a ritual in context of other things like I'm in community and I do other smaller rigors all of the other time, or I have a more regular rhythm of, not like 1 month out of the year, but like 2 days out of the week. Um, you know, you the idea is to go for what can you sustain? What can you sustain long term? What will change you inside out, outside in? Those are all the really valuable things as well. So, all that to say, so it is January 4th when I'm recording this, day 4 of my dry January, and I will send some other updates as we go, but, that's something I'm doing. No alcohol, no late night snacks, and hopefully I will learn something about myself, and when I do, I will surely share it with you. In the meantime, if this is a helpful sort of thing for you, please, like and share. You can visit, patreon.com/outercircle to lend some more support to, this show and this channel and help me do it more, and I will do it more for you. Anyway, peace to you all. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you soon.